Is Trinity the one in the Matrix 4? That's a headline and the speculation that we are going to be discussing on this Monday's MBE Movie News.
Yes, happy Monday, folks. That is the headline on Monday's show. John, this comes in from Digital Spy. A little bit of speculation. I've not really heard too much about what's been happening with the Matrix 4 project. Had a few released unofficial photographs last month.
Yes.
I think it was, Trinity and Neo on a motorcycle.
Yes.
Looking very
Youthful.
old.
Oh, you
has to be said.
I thought they looked okay. They're old. I mean, he's 50 now.
Yeah.
He looks pretty damn good for 50. I'll not look that good when I'm 50.
No.
I'll probably be dead by the time I'm 50.
I think we'll probably be dead maybe before you're 40, John, but
not.
the way things are going. But listen, this is based, it's speculation as we said, and one of the clips that seems to be doing the rounds, one of these unreleased or unofficially released clips that are doing the rounds, has Trinity leading Neo, that is, as if she is showing him how to manipulate the Matrix. We talked about this before we came on. We're not really sure where this storyline picks up, whether it's in between the events of the original trilogy,
yes,
or if it's a reboot. But what's your thoughts on the speculation, John, that Trinity could actually be the one in this version, this incarnation of the Matrix?
Well, Stephen, I think that will play into what he's doing with this, or what she's doing with this, sorry, Lana Wachowski, what she's doing, what they're doing with it. I do hope that David Leitch is involved in this. I know he was putting his name forward furiously to be involved with this movie. He was quite happy to work at any sort of level on this movie, although I couldn't see him doing sanitary work on the set, so I think he's been a little bit hyperbolic there. But yeah, I think that will be determined by what route they're going down. Is it a prequel, a sequel, a quasi-reboot, quasi-sequel, whatever the hell they're doing? That will really determine my hunger for this Trinity being the one version of the Matrix. If it's a sequel, then I suppose they could do it, because the way they could do it is they could reboot the whole Matrix thing and start again with the same characters we've seen and loved before, but different. So Neo isn't the Mr. Anderson Neo that we know and love from the early 2000s version of the Matrix. He's a different guy with no memory of what happened before. And then in that case, we could maybe frame it in a way where Trinity is indeed the one, and then it's all taking place with her, maybe him guiding her. They're saying in this little behind the scenes shot that's as if she's guiding him through the actual air.
Yeah.
We won't actually know till we see the movie. Maybe he is being a sort of Morpheus figure in this, in the absence of a Lawrence Fishburne. So I don't know, man. I personally don't want to see the movie. I think we've said that before.
Yeah.
But if they're doing like a prequel, or there was rumours of a prequel, we'd have a new guy coming in cast as Morpheus. You couldn't do this then if it's a prequel, because it would make no sense, unless again it's a different version of the Matrix. What happens here leads into what we see with Neo in obviously Matrix, Matrix 2, Matrix 3, Reloaded, Revolutions. I don't know, there's a lot of things up in there just now about how they can make this work, but certainly there is scope there in terms of story for rebooting this world. It can be rebooted again and again. The Matrix can choose a new chosen one each time, and there's nothing wrong with Trinity having a shot in it.
You're absolutely right. It does say, previously they have established that in each iteration of the Matrix, the one is created to prevent the whole thing from crashing and killing everyone. I don't think it was that clear actually in the films that was the case. Well, not to me.
I think there's been animated things.
There has Animatrix, but I think, John, I still struggle with that Revolutions. I've seen it maybe 3 or 4 times, and there's bits in it I just still can't get my head around.
It was a bad film.
Yeah, I think it bored me as well. I think that was the case. What you were saying, John, it could work. It could work. It doesn't mean that I want it to work. I do not want to see another Matrix film. I don't think there's any need for it. I don't think there's any reason for a reboot. But having said that, the way you described that would probably be the best way to do it without pissing on the original 3 films. This has been something that's obviously, happened with the Terminator franchise. It's happened with Star Wars now. as much as you don't want to think about it, you know.
Ghostbusters.
And it's happened, yeah, exactly, you know, and you have to be careful. But this is quite unique, this universe as well, because you're right. You know, there's all these different versions of, I don't want to say timelines, it's more dimensions, I would say, you know,
an AI world.
Yeah, exactly. So anything can happen, and it's really just having to accept that. We'll just have to accept it, because they're going to go ahead and do this film anyway. Whether you want to go and see it or not is another thing, but they're going ahead with it. You know, how they've got these two actors back as well is amazing, you know.
Sadly, because no Hugo Weaving.
No, and Lawrence Fishburne doesn't. No mention of him either. I don't know whether or not.
I think he's too old now.
Yeah, I think he's done with it as well. You know, I think he's probably. But the thing about this is Carrie-Anne Moss has been keeping herself busy, obviously, with all the Marvel stuff and other things. Keanu Reeves is on a high at the moment. He's in about 3 franchises just now that are all at the top of their game. So it's not like you can't accuse them coming back for the money and, you know, and try to boost their egos or anything like that. They don't have nothing to prove, and they're all in good places as well, you know, in their careers. So, you know, we'll just have to see. You know, I'm saying I'm not that interested. I'll go and see this. I know I will, because Keanu Reeves is in it, and because I did like I liked the first 2 Matrix films. The third one was a bit naff, but I'm very interested to see how they're going to. It doesn't have to fit in. I was about to say how they're going to make it fit with the original 3 films. They don't have to do that. That's the thing.
Well, I disagree with that statement. I think you probably could. You would have to make this fit in some way. But again,
if it's a reboot, though, John.
Yeah, if it's a reboot, but you want to have it blend in a way where it's complementing the other stories we got. Otherwise, it's just, what's the point? I think you actually says that before we come on. Why not just call it something else? Why are you calling it The Matrix if it's completely unrelated to the other set of stories? Basically, just bored. I mean, I think Lana Wachowski says they both had these stories for 20 years or something, 10 years, waiting just to adapt into a movie. So why have you waited that long? If you've had these stories, why have you waited until Keanu Reeves was like 50? You could have done it all the way back then. But as you did say, Steve, look, the script must have something. If these guys are coming on board and they see something in it, Keanu Reeves is in a position just now where he doesn't have to take any little movie. It's out there, even if he has some semblance of loyalty to the Wachowskis and the Matrix for making him a star. Well, some would argue Bill and Ted way before that, but I've still not seen them, so I just focus on the Matrix. But having said that, perceived loyalty aside, it must have something. If they're attracting him and he's in the midst of a renaissance, there must be something there. Just sad that Agent Smith, is it, who Hugo Weaving's played, was that his name? He was Agent Smith? Yeah. I'm just sad he's not going to be there, because he was iconic. Just hearing the dulcet tones of that man saying, Mr. Anderson, he'll be missed. Badly missed. But if he's not the one, then he'll be saying Mrs. Trinity. So, whatever her name is, I suppose.
Well, don't call him number 2.
Yeah, look, again, the final thing I'd add, that would be a way of giving us a whole new story in this world. It'd explain why he's not there. If it's a completely different reboot, this iteration of the agent is not there, so maybe a nifty little trick to give us something fresh, and it's not as jarring. They're not having the gorilla on the back of the previous trilogy.
That's the thing, John, about this franchise. They don't have to worry about that. You know, there will be connections to the original 3 films, obviously, because you're getting those 2 characters back. But you're right, they're free to do what they want because of the complex nature of the Matrix, and anything goes, really. You know, and I think if you open your mind up and you understand the first film, at least, then you understand that these things can be possible. They're not too much of a stretch for the imagination. But listen, well, just before we move on to our next article, something that obviously came in last week, a bit of sad news. Obviously, they were just catching up with things. Max von Sydow died at the age of 90, John, the legendary actor, that is, Swedish actor.
I should never knew that.
Yeah, well, listen, you know, I know him from, obviously, The Exorcist, films like that. You know, he played Emperor Ming in Flash Gordon from 1980 as well. He also was in David Lynch's 1984's Dune. He was also in the non-canon James Bond film Never Say Never Again as Blofeld, I think it was.
Yes.
So
the famous Blofeld.
He was also in Escape to Victory. He played one of the Nazis. He stood up and applauded Sylvester Stallone's great penalty save. You know, as if that would happen in real life, but more so.
Well, it may have, but they've been guillotined.
Star Wars, The Force Awakens, obviously I think he had the first line, actually, didn't he, in that film?
We'll begin to make things right, yes.
Little dig at George Lucas for the prequels there.
Right,
but what's your thoughts, John? It's obviously very sad news, but this is a man that's lived a life probably 3 times over what we would experience, at the age of 90. He looked good for a 90-year-old as well.
He really did.
Like he kept himself fit, but it's always sad to see legendary actors pass away.
Certainly, Stephen obviously following in the footsteps of Kirk Douglas, passing away very recently at 103. 2 legendary actors of their time, very much going into this time as well. They were both floating around in some vein. Well, maybe not Kirk so much, but certainly Max was in doing movies up until fairly recently. It's sad, but look, you can't really complain. If you get to 90 years of age, it's way above the average life expectancy. And as you did say, he lived such a full life. I'm not deriding the fact that the man has passed away or trying to play it down any. It doesn't matter what age you are. If you pass, it's very sad. But he had a really full life. All of these guys seem to have much fuller lives than people like me these days. I always think back to the Beatles, what they'd accomplished by the age of 30, 31, and I look at my life and I feel completely like a failure. Totally insignificant. This man's the same. So many legendary movies, so many legendary characters. Absolutely magnificent actor. And I actually really enjoyed that character, Los Santeca. I felt we should have had more from him in Star Wars. It was a real pity the way he was killed off. But look, I suppose it served to tell the story. You're so right, yeah. It served his purpose, really. Set up Kylo Ren and Ben Solo and showed us the hatred, and it really flayed the foundations of that whole trilogy. So whether you love it or hate it.
Sadly missed, John, but listen, we'll move on to our next article now. It's Austin Powers 4 update arrives from director Jay Roach. He does to say, we have spoke about this, John. I think it was a few months ago.
Yes.
I think both of us weren't that bothered about the whole thing, but listen, Jay Roach has had this to say. We talk about it once a month. Clearly must have other things to talk about, Jay, but until we know what it specifically wants to be, I don't disagree that there is a classic battle in the Austin films, that of sort of love versus fear and paranoia, and colour versus colourlessness, and music versus fear. Dr. Evil, there are some aspects of the way the world works right now. That seems very Dr. Evil-y to me. I'll just put it that way. But no, we don't have a specific plan for anything right now. I was doing a Del Boy there, Pacific plan. And he also said this, I root for it too. I root for it to come back, and so does Mike. So we know Mike Myers is obviously interested in bringing this character back. I was about to say legendary character, but...
Well, he is. Yeah,
he's iconic. Yeah. We all have for a long time. It's just always been when the right story comes up and we know what it is, and that's pretty much up to Mike. Certainly is up to Mike Myers. He plays the lead role. The characters that he created, apart from Dr. Evil, because we do know that Dana Carvey had his hand in obviously a lot of the sort of little what would you say,
gestures.
Little gestures and sayings and stuff like that for that character. So what's your thoughts on this, John? I think we've already established a few months ago it's not something we were really up for.
No.
I think you've got to think about obviously the times we live in now, from 20 years ago when this franchise was at its sort of peak.
Yeah, you just have to look at James Gunn, Stephen, on Twitter. What was allowed to fly on Twitter 10 years ago in terms of jokes. The backlash that he received fired or mutually consented out of Disney. Obviously they backtracked when they realised no one else was going to do the job of directing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and that it would throw the entire MCU cosmic side and Phase 4 and beyond in tatters. But that's a perfect example of what was allowed 10 years ago, not 20 years ago, and what's not allowed now. So I can't see this character traversing well into the 21st century, into 2020 or 2021 or 2022, whenever it comes. Too many snowflakes kicking around now too. And look, I'm left wing. I'm as left wing as you can possibly be. I'm a Bernie Sanders lover. I love Jeremy Corbyn here, although look, he's never going to get any power, and I'm not a Labour man, but that's politics. But point being, I'm a left wing socialist, so I understand liberal intentions and whatnot, but some go a little too far. They're very snowflakish, always looking to get butt hurt and offended over everything. They would not allow an Austin Powers movie to be made. It would be ridiculously stripped back and destroyed to the point where it's not even recognisable. Mike Myers would have to do mental gymnastics to get a movie like this to fly. He wouldn't be allowed to say groovy baby and do you think I'm sexy and all of these things, and have women obviously frolicking around half dressed, and people would be going off ahead. They'd be backlashing and try to, I don't know, just
I'm afraid that's the world
this
we live
movie
in now,
not
John.
released.
No, not for
Was
those.
what I was looking for there.
Not for those reasons, though. You know, it's all harmless fun. You know, that's what people say about Magic Mike. So you can't have it both ways.
That movie did just fine.
But you can't have it both ways, John. You know, so listen, I know a different genre, but listen, the reason that I'm not that bothered is because I think 3 films in that kind of sort of genre is enough. It really is enough. You know, I think Mike Myers is great as he was. You know, I still love the guy, and I love his contribution to the Austin Powers stuff, Wayne's World.
He's a great dude.
So I Married an Axe Murderer. All his SNL stuff as well with Dana Carvey is legendary. You know, there's no doubt about that. But he does regurgitate a lot of the humour. You know, he can't get away from that. He does, repeat a lot of the humour in the films. It was a kind of a novelty as well at the time, having this sort of spoof Bond thing going on. You had the likes of Michael York in there playing, I can't remember what his character was. He was a sort of sidekick to Austin Powers at the embassy and all that. But
it was like a Q.
Well, yeah, exactly. I think his name was, I can't remember. It'll come back to me. But I think it's just had its day, John. I think Mike Myers, he's in a place where he would take that type of film just now. I don't think he has anything to prove. He doesn't have to come back and do this. But I think I don't know obviously what's happening in his career or his private life or anything like that. He's not at the peak that he was back 20 years ago.
Put a lot of weight on as well.
Well, yeah,
But Stephen, he did well in Bohemian Rhapsody, and he also had that little cameo in Inglourious Basterds as well. So he's certainly a man who's keeping himself busy. He's doing different things.
Basilton, that was his name.
Basilton, there you go.
Yeah, so Basil.
He's like Ben Whishaw Q, isn't he? That's what he's like, really.
Yeah.
Stephen, how would this work without Vern Troyer as well? Because he's also passed away.
Yeah.
Sadly, and he was such an iconic character within that franchise as well. Him and obviously Dr. Evil, Mini-Me. Look, I do agree with what they're saying here. There is definitely scope for maybe this kind of story coming in. Whether people would watch it, certainly the Dr. Evil thing, I mean, they could do a Trump-esque Dr. Evil here, because he basically is Dr. Evil.
Yeah.
This is a guy who's trying to get vaccines solely made for the United States from Germany and whatnot. This man is the living epitome of Dr. Evil. Shithead, tangled with his fake
just
blonde
hasn't
hair.
got a cat, yeah.
He's not got a cat. Well, I think the cat would probably be sitting on his head, Stephen. That would explain
Maybe
that haircut.
What that is, yeah.
Yes. So look, there is scope there for them to do something. And look, Mike Myers is such a funny guy. I'm sure he could make. He's a borderline genius when it comes to comedy. If anyone can craft a movie that will not be boycotted or whatnot and do the gymnastics mentally to make it acceptable to today's generation without it being crap and soulless and losing what made it so appealing, I'm sure he could be the guy to do it.
Well, we'll have to see. We'll just have to see. We'll take, obviously, director Jay Roach's word for it. They are in talks, but it is purely down to whether or not Mike Myers wants to do it. We'll move on. I think he will, John. But listen, we'll move on to our final article just before we get into box office. This is Star Wars actor Anthony Daniels. Tony Daniels says C-3PO's story is not over. Now, this is actually, reading that headline, I thought it was actually from his words, his point of view, which does sound like something Anthony Daniels would say. But listen, he was talking to J.J. Abrams. I think this was obviously during the Rise of Skywalker, and it turns out the filmmaker wasn't as keen to say goodbye to the machine as he was. I hate when they say that, or they say robot. It's a droid. Yes, guys. But listen, Daniels said this. He's not over. Daniels said, I said to JJ when we were filming, maybe it's time to put 3PO to sleep. This is actually Anthony Daniels saying this. I don't believe it for a minute. To give him an end. And he said, not in my watch. That's JJ Abrams saying that, not in his watch. Now, this is, reading that, I thought, what's he got planned from? But it's actually in regards to, in relation to the Rise of Skywalker. Well, not killing off the character. It did look that way for a little bit in that, I think it was the last trailer that came out just before the film. I just
want to see my friends.
For the last time, or whatever it was, so cheesy. But what's your thoughts on this, John? It's something, I never really gave it much thought when the film, ended. I was more bummed about R2-D2 not being in the last shot than C-3PO for some reason. I don't know why.
Because R2 is distinctly more
likeable.
Yeah, likeable. You connect with him. There's something human about him. C-3PO is just a whining little bitch who tells you the odds when you don't want it and just gets in the way.
Yeah.
Heavily expositions, most, if that's even the word. Exposes exposition. I don't know what the plural or that sense of it is. Doesn't matter. I'm not a professor in English.
I don't know.
I don't know. Not a professor in English. It doesn't matter. I think that actually connects well. Because obviously Han Solo says, "Chewie, take the professor back inside and plug him into the hyperdrive." Yeah. So that was a nice little connection for you. But look, I mean, have you ever seen an actor clutching at straws like this in your life, Stephen? Obviously, he's had a little conversation. He's kind of half-heartedly pushed the concept of killing off C-3PO to the director, and when JJ says no, not my watch, he's like, yes, yippee, like Anakin in The Phantom Menace, because he knows he now has the potential to have a career again, going into the last 15-20 years of his life, maybe longer. Look, I like Tony, joking aside, I do like him. He's a good dude. He's had some dislikable moments, obviously there's things with Kenny Bacon and whatnot, but when you hear him talking, he's firmly passionate about Star Wars and what the fans, the connection they have with him and whatnot. So, joking aside, look, he is a good guy, but he's clutching the straws here. We're not getting a C-3PO R2-D2 standalone movie. It's not going to happen. Yeah. We're moving away from the Skywalker saga.
I wouldn't say he goes as far as that. What was it, Todd Fisher? I can't remember the guy's name. Carrie Fisher's brother. He just seemed to keep reappearing, every now and again, just to stay sort of relevant. But I think in Tony Daniel's case, John, it's justified. He's been playing the same role, and I don't mean that in a sort of snidey way or anything like that.
No one else could play that role.
Exactly. That's what I was getting to, John. That voice, is such has such a connection to not just the recent films, but definitely the original trilogy as well. You got to remember that. The original trilogy, the story was told from the point of view of the droids, and Anthony Daniels, as much as, he was Mr. Obvious with, his exposition, it was needed at times. Obviously, when you only get the scenes with the droids, you had to have that to understand what was going on in the film. But it'll always be connected to Star Wars, regardless if this was going to be his last film or not. Something tells me, though, 74 now, did I say it was, John? I think it says in the article. I didn't realise he was as old as that. You might find that he might be recording dialogue for further down the line appearances for C-3PO when he's not physically, ready to play that character, just like they've done with obviously Peter Mayhew, when he passed away with Chewbacca. They've replaced the physical form of the character. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, sounds about right. But I think that's what they might do with the C-3PO character if they want to maybe do some prequel stuff, that's set before, because we don't know how old C-3PO is. But listen. We'll move on anyway. Yes. I'm pretty sure we've not heard the last of Tony Daniels anyway and Star Wars related news. But listen, we'll move on to Box Office UK, where we break down the top 10 films in the UK's box office for weekend of March 6th to 8th, 2020. And coming in at number 1 in its first week, John, is Onward, grossing 4.5 million.
Yeah, Stephen, I still can't quite believe Disney decided to go ahead and release this movie in the midst of what's going on just now. I'll not say it, because I say it every goddamn show. Yeah. We're not talking about that crap now. No. We're moving away from that. Let's just not focus on it. We're here to hopefully take people's minds off of that nonsense. Yeah, just like Star Wars. Just escape into another world. It's blissful. It's not happening. Can't believe they've actually released it though, because it's clearly not going to do well. I think I've seen the box office has dropped 75% or something. Yeah. It's a disaster for this movie, which is a shame, because it's apparently a pretty damn good movie. Tom Holland's in there, Chris Pratt's in there. But look, $101.7 million worldwide. I ain't got budget information, but it's a Disney Pixar release. It would have a decent amount of money ploughed in. You've got big A-list actors there to pay for. So I don't know what's going to happen with this. Maybe they can it and re-release it again later in the year when it can get its just desserts in terms of bringing in the spondulics.
We'll soon see, John, but we'll move on to number 2 this week. In its second week is The Invisible Man, grossing on 2 million over the weekend, 6.4 million overall.
Yes, Stephen, that's fantastic. $122.8 million worldwide, $7 million budget. They just get in time, really. Yeah. They released it perfectly. It's earned big money. they will now greenlight further movies: Dracula, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, and then they'll get out while everyone's getting ready to quarantine. So yeah, fantastic for them.
I think
Universal Blumhouse.
Yeah, I think it's great, John. You know, and it sets up obviously future films as well. But listen, we'll move on to number 3 this week, and its first week it's Military Wives, and its first week, as I said, it's grossed 1.3 million overall.
What the hell's that? I've never heard of that one. In Afghanistan, alright, yeah. Oh, so yeah, Military Wives. Self-explanatory, John. Yeah, $1.3 million worldwide. It's not got a huge release. I say that, 671 theatres in Britain. It's pretty damn big. It's a pretty big release, but it's not earning great money.
No, we'll move on to number
6 million.
Yeah,
it's 1 million, sorry. It's not bad.
No, it's not too bad, John. It's first week. For a film, it's not been marketed over here, I can guarantee you that. But listen, we'll move on to number 4 this week, and its fourth week at the Sonic the Hedgehog, grossing 1.2 million over the weekend, 24.1 million overall.
Fantastic again, Stephen. What a performance for this movie. The most successful video game adapted movie ever.
Yeah.
$306.5 million worldwide, $85 million budget. He has been vindicated, the director, whose name is completely left my noggin. But he has been vindicated for taking this movie back and redesigning Sonic. But I enjoyed it, I really did. It took me back. I liked James Marsden, I really liked Ben Schwartz, and I love Jim Carrey. So
Jim Carrey was excellent.
Yeah, so I'm glad it's made the money. It deserved to make the money, and we will get a sequel.
Number 5 this week, John, it's fifth week. I can feel a sneeze coming on, John. It might come, it might not. But listen, this Parasite in its fifth week at number 5, it's grossed £700,000 over the weekend, 15 million overall. It's not the coronavirus, it's just a
sneeze. Yes, it's fantastic, Stephen. Again, just so happy to see that movie earning any degree of money here. It's one of the best movies I've seen in the last 10 years. It's just wonderful what Bong Joon-ho has done. $255 million, fantastic performance. I don't have budget information, but they've made an absolute mint, and South Korea has just shown everyone how to deal with goddamn coronavirus. So we need to get these guys making more movies, and we need to get them over here to help us out so we don't all die. Well done, Bong Joon-ho, and well done everyone else involved.
Yeah, coming in at number 6, John, it's Dark Waters. We did the review for this on Friday.
Yes.
Lots and lots of people clamoured to see that review. In its second week, it's grossed £700,000 over the weekend, 2.5 million overall.
Yes, Stephen, I think we have to start being a little bit more succinct with our movie reviews. Get it down from that 50 odd minute mark.
Oh, we rambled, yeah.
Yeah, get it down to 30 minutes. Maybe that'll bring more people in, hopefully. But look, I highly urge you to go and watch that that review, I should say, not view. The big issue. Don't do that.
Not the view, yeah.
I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but I thought it was pretty damn good.
Yeah, thorough.
We spoke sense, I'd like to think. $19.2 million worldwide. Look, I really enjoyed it. I thought Mark Ruffalo was absolutely stupendous. I enjoyed Anne Hathaway, Tim Robbins. Really enjoyed the story. It was like Erin Brockovich all over, but better. It was a different... Well, not better, because that was a good movie as well, but... It had a different twist. It was different, but it was similar, and really enjoyed the time, scale, everything involved, really.
Yeah, number 7 this week, John. I think we're at number 7. It's Fantasy Island in its first week. Yes. It's grossed $500,000, dollars, whatever this is supposed to be, I don't know.
Dollars. Stephen, this is supposed to be terrible. Apparently it's absolutely ghastly. Shit. Shocking.
It's ghastly.
$45.7 million worldwide. How the hell did that happen? $7 million budget. Sony Pictures. Wow, well done. I'm not just looking at.
Yeah, I was just looking at the cast there, John. You've got the likes of Michael Pena in there, Maggie Q, Lucy Hale's in there. Jeff Wadlow is the director. But listen, again, it's another film. It's not really been marketed well here in the United Kingdom.
That's because it's shit, and they know it won't make money here. 4.6 on IMDb. I think that's been generous, really. But I haven't seen it.
No, so here's another film I've not seen, John. It's Dolittle, and it's coming in at number 8.
Not going to
it's
see
in
it
its 5th week now. It's grossed $500,000 over the weekend, $20.2 million overall.
$20.2 million overall. Jesus Christ, Robert Downey Jr., you're so good. Such a draw that you're bringing people in and exceeding the grossing of Parasite, an infinitesimally better movie, just because of your name alone. $77 million in the States, $227.3 million worldwide. $175 million budget. It hasn't made a profit.
No.
There was reshoots, there was promotion, and there has to be cuts to theatres. so it's not a profit, but it's not as bad as it could have been.
No.
It was looking ghastly.
Yeah, it was a doomsday scenario, if you pardon the pun, John. But listen, we'll move on to number 9 this week. It's Riverdance's 25th anniversary show. I know you can't wait to see this, John. It's second week, it's grossed £400,000 over the weekend, and overall £800,000.
Yeah, Stephen, look, I tell you this right now, if Boris and the government don't shut down the ability, if they haven't done already by the time this airs, for me to go along to a theatre and watch movies, then I'm telling you, I will be going with my gas mask to watch this, because I just love Riverdance. I really do.
Flatline Madeira, I don't Riverdance.
No hint of irony, sarcasm, anything in there at all. I just love Riverdance. So yeah, I'll definitely risk dying to go and watch this.
I'll certainly not. But listen, we'll move on to number 10 this week, John. It's Emma, and it's 4th week. It's grossed £400,000 over the weekend, £9 million overall.
Yes, the Jane Austen dark comedy rom-com thing.
Yeah, based on the novel.
Yeah, I heard about this. We spoke about it numerous weeks in a row. I don't know why I'm saying I heard about it, like we haven't spoke about it before. Not going to go and see it. I'm not a big Jane Austen fan, in truth. Not read any of her novels. It's not really my cup of tea, which I'm sure would fit into a Jane Austen novel. $25.1 million worldwide. Certainly there is an audience. It couldn't have had a huge budget.
No.
Hopefully it's made us profit. I don't really care though.
Yeah,
in truth. So, shall I round the show up on that note,
I think you should, John. Yeah.
Yes, well, look, guys, that is going to round up box office for this week, maybe from the last week, because there may be no more films coming out, so we can't speak about films that aren't in the box office. But what did you guys make about that Matrix 4 headline? What do you think about Trinity perhaps being the chosen one instead of Neo? Do you think that's something that should happen? What do you make about Austin Powers 4? Do you think we should get it? Do you think it would fit in the 21st century? What's your thoughts about Anthony Daniels clutching furiously at straws and failing to grasp him from his rabbit hole? If you have anything to say at all, you can comment below and let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, and you can subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. And if you do, then you will see us again tomorrow for MVE Heroes.